back by semi-popular demand. Shout out Will Phillip. My headphones are falling apart, so if the audio quality is crap, I do apologise in advance. I have ordered some new ones, but they are coming from Germany, and they have not been shipped for some reason, so here we are. It's been an interesting month. January has disappeared, and we're almost halfway through February, which is fantastic. T-minus 17 weeks until wedding, which is terrifying. In terms of Wed Shred and the weight loss journey, so to speak, it's going fine. It's kind of okay. Slow and steady wins the race, I have found. I realised that getting past 80 kilos would be a big deal for me. That'll be the first time in the best part of 12 years, I want to say, that I've been that weight, so that's the goal. And we're about 1.3 kilos, or exactly 1.3 kilos away from that at the moment, as I speak, so we know where the goalposts are. In other news, so January came and gone. We went to Melbourne for the tennis, for the Australian Open, which was awesome. We've done that every year since we've been in Australia, which is always really cool. And most years we get the same luck with our tickets in that we usually see pretty crappy people. But this year we were very excited because we got to see Djokovic, and we got to see Coco Gauff, and we got to see Carlos Alcaraz. Djokovic won in straight sets, and the first two sets against Manarino, he won 6-love, 6-love. For those of you who don't care about tennis, that means Manarino got annihilated, and it wasn't a game, so that wasn't very fun. Coco Gauff similarly destroyed whoever she was playing, I can't remember now. And then Carlos Alcaraz was playing a Chinese guy whose nickname was Jerry, and Jerry had to retire in the third set after Alcaraz had won the first two. So, not the most competitive of Australian Open experiences, but always good to get down to Melbourne and get out of the Manly bubble for a little while, which is nice. Different world, completely different world. For those of you who haven't been to Australia before, because it is very far away, I think a decent comparison, I have no idea off the top of my head, but when people say, if you're from Scotland, when people say Edinburgh versus Glasgow, just in terms of how different those two places are, it's probably quite similar. I think Sydney has the water and Melbourne has the food, and the culture is what people say. I think, I can't remember, someone described it once as like Sydney's the kind of pretty sibling, and then Melbourne is like the edgy middle child that's had to like carve out a personality. So, just to give you a bit of an indication. Otherwise, the eating in Melbourne is fantastic. The food there is ridiculous, so we spend a shit ton of money and eat a lot of food. Not a great move when you're trying to lose weight for a wedding, but here we are. And you come back to Sydney and you get back on the fitness train, on the weight loss train. I checked in at my gym because they have this, I don't know what the tool is they use, but they use a tool that tells you your metabolic age. And I won't bore you with details of that, but basically what you want is your metabolic age to be very similar, if not slightly younger, than your actual age. Basically just telling you how young and healthy you are. And so I rocked up to get this test at my gym, very arrogant, thinking I was pretty healthy, pretty fit. And it turns out my metabolic age is 47. So that was a bit of a kick in the balls. And very quickly, arrogant smile disappeared when I was told I had a metabolic age of 47. So that was fun. Really bring me back down to earth in early February. Thank you for that. Andrew Boyd Charlton, which is the name of the gym that I go to, very Australian. What else is going on? Wedding-related stuff. As I try and finally get my act together for the wedding, and I have to decide what clothes I'm going to be wearing. I'm going into town next week to do a personal, it's not a personal shopping thing, it's like going to David Jones, which I guess you could say is kind of equivalent of like John Lewis if you're back from the UK, and having someone help me find some clothes for a few hours. So that's going to be very, for those of you who know me and know how much I love talking to people, that'll be an interesting experience, but hopefully I'll find some clothes that will be wearable. That's my minimum criteria. They physically can fit onto my body. That is the minimum criteria. We go from there. And that will be next weekend, which is very exciting. Taylor Swift, because Manu is a Swiftie. We have Taylor Swift in a couple of weeks, which is going to be carnage. It's like a 4-hour concert or something, so that's very exciting. I'm sure you can pick that up in my voice. I'm very excited about that. What else is going on? We have, and then we're going on a little weekend trip somewhere to Hunter Valley. Or Orange, maybe. I get the two of those places mixed up. 3 hours away from Sydney. That's kind of all I know. Playing a lot of tennis at the moment, which is cool. Shout out James, Mr. James Puller, my de facto tennis coach, who we've played 2 games so far, and we have managed a grand total of, how many? 4 sets, maybe? By the time we do our warm-ups and we account for us being old, well, 47, according to my metabolic age. By the time we've done that, we've managed to fit in 4 sets. So we're doing pretty well. I realised that tennis is actually so much harder than it looks. So you can imagine how that sits with me being very competitive and trying to win a sport that I'm terrible at. It's good character development, life lessons. And then football pre-season started 2 weeks ago, which is a bit of a shock to the system. So have actual football doesn't kick off until like the end of March, but pre-season, because I'm very diligent, I have pre-season up until the end of March when the season starts, so that's good fun, running around. I've played for the same team since I moved to Australia. I played for the same team. Shout out Manly Vale FC, the mighty Manly Vale, and unfortunately, our team has disbanded, and so I've had to find a new team, and I've actually moved just down the road to our rivals, which is shocking behaviour, to a team called Harbour FC. So in for a big rivalry derby game when I come back and inevitably score 17 goals against Manly Vale. I'll be in for pelters, as they say. But that's very exciting. Just on football chat, and I know many of you will tune out, but I'm a Man United fan, and Rasmus Højlund is quickly edging his way to kind of top 5 favourite United players of all time for me. And I've told Manu this Rasmus is getting chucked on if we were to have children at any point down the line. Rasmus is getting added to that list. So she has been warned. So, that's that. Otherwise, Australia's still Australia, still very hot, still very sweaty. Nice average humidity of kind of 85% plus. Very exciting times. And that's about it, really. Just a short, snappy one for Will Phillip, specifically, who requested this update. My last message, if you've made it this far and you're coming to my wedding, if you've made the guest list, you're lucky enough to make the guest list. If you haven't booked your room yet, book your room. Book your room. Go and do it now. Book your flights. Just get it sorted. Do it. I know who you are. I'm not going to name you. Just go do it. And that's it for me. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, you lovely people.